Obsession, money, and lies were tearing Grant Amato's family apart, and on the morning of January 25, 2019, Grant decided to end the struggles and conflicts with his family. In the months preceding the murders, Grant's life had been spiraling out of control. Beginning with his arrest in June 2018 on suspicion of stealing drugs and improperly administering medication to patients at Advent Health in Orlando, according to the arrest report. The Orlando police were called to the hospital on June 21st for a report of a suicidal person. When they arrived, they spoke to Grant Amato and determined he didn't meet the Baker Act criteria, according to court documents. Grant's older brother, Cody, hired a lawyer to defend Grant, and the charges were eventually dropped. But Grant Amato's troubles were about to deepen, as night after night he logged onto his family's computer to watch Sylvie, a Bulgarian webcam model with whom he had become infatuated after losing his job. He watched her model and dance for hours, paying thousands of dollars for access to Sylvie's often sexually explicit photos and videos. Grant began stealing money from his family to keep watching the woman and give her the impression that he was wealthy and successful. Frustrated and angry with Amato's behavior, his family checked him into the Cornerstone Recovery Center in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. When Amato returned home from the facility in early January 2019, his father outlined a list of rules Amato needed to follow. Get a job, go to therapy, and stop communicating with Sylvie. But Amato didn't stop speaking with Sylvie. And when his father found out on January 24th, he was livid. He told Amato to pack his belongings and get out. The next morning, when Cody Amato didn't show up for work and didn't answer his phone, his coworkers suspected something was wrong. He hadn't missed a day of work in 5 years. The police were contacted and asked to do a welfare check at the Amato home. When Seminole County deputies arrived at the Amato residence on the morning of January 25th, they discovered a gruesome scene. They found Grant's older brother, Cody Amato, with a bullet wound below his eye, dead on the floor, still wearing his nursing scrubs with his lunchbox a few feet away. His mother, Margaret Amato, dead in her desk chair. And his father, Chad Amato, was found in the kitchen with 2 bullet wounds in his head. Police described the murders as execution style. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear to detectives that the murderer had attempted to stage the scene to make it look like a murder-suicide carried out by Cody Amato by placing a gun close to him. Chad Amato was also found wearing a gun in a holster on his right hip. But because of the way the holster was facing, Chad would have had to have drawn the gun with his left hand, but he was right-handed. 4 shell cases were also found at the crime scene. Investigators determined that neither the gun in the home was used in the murders and the shell cases weren't from the bullets that killed the victims. Police were never able to find the murder weapon. All 3 of Grant Amato's slain family members worked in the healthcare field. Cody worked at Advent Hospital, East Orlando, police said. Margaret was a client operations manager in the healthcare division at Nuance Communications, according to her Facebook page. And Chad worked as a clinical pharmacist, according to his LinkedIn profile. The physical layout of an interrogation room is designed to maximize a suspect's discomfort and sense of powerlessness from the moment they step inside. This usually consists of a small, soundproof room with only 2 or 3 chairs, a desk, and nothing on the walls. This creates a sense of exposure, unfamiliarity, and isolation. It heightens the suspect's get-me-out-of-here sensation throughout the interrogation. The suspect should be seated in an uncomfortable chair and out of reach of any controls like light switches or thermostats, furthering his discomfort and setting up a feeling of dependence. During this initial conversation, the interrogator observes the suspect's reactions, both verbal and nonverbal, to establish a baseline reaction before the real stress begins. The interrogator will later use this baseline as a control or comparison point. If the interrogator determines that the suspect's reactions indicate deception and all other evidence points to guilt, then a structured interrogation of the suspect begins. Investigators spent the first portion of the interview building a rapport with Grant using casual conversation to create a non-threatening atmosphere and gathering basic background information. Grant isn't aware the investigators have spent 2 days reviewing phone records, autopsy reports, digital footprints, a neighbor's security footage, as well as tracking his cell phone pings to know his precise location at the time of the murders. This will be used later in the interview to apply pressure and confront Grant when he lies about the details in his version of events. We begin the interview here with detectives inquiring about Grant's family relationships.
Tell me about Cody.
Cody. Let's see. Me and Cody had the quintessential rough, fighting each other and whatnot when we were younger.
The love-hate,
right.
Typical siblings.
But then I would say, my junior year of high school, we were all on the weightlifting team together. That's where I got to know a lot of, his guy friends. And, we stopped, arguing at that point. And then we decided to go to nursing school together. We decided to go to the nurse anesthesia school together.
Mm-hmm.
We did everything together.
Who was the better student?
He was the better student in everything up through nursing school, and then I was actually the better student in nurse anesthesia school. But there was again, kind of like.
Are you guys? Sorry, are you guys at the same time in the same classes?
Yeah.
So you're the
but not for nursing school, not for nursing.
No, I mean for the anesthesiology.
Yeah, we sat right next to each other.
So you're in there doing things together, so you got somebody to study with.
Yeah.
Somebody to bounce things off of and work with.
Yeah, and we would do that all the time when we were burning the midnight oil.
But you were better at it.
Yeah, and that was the one time that he actually admitted that I was didactically more competent than him in that field. And then...
Who was better in weightlifting?
He was.
Oh, okay.
He broke a number of school records. I think he was the 129 weight class. I was the 119 weight class. But he was definitely stronger in high school. And then, but yeah, we were close. Bonded. I don't really know how else to really say it. It was a lot of people thought that it was weird because we did everything together and because we were so close, but yeah,
a lot of people understand the bond of brothers. The true bond if you're close with your brother.
And during this whole time, kind of with just a few examples I've given you, he'd take care of everything for
me. Always there for you.
Yeah.
Always there to support you.
Always there.
Fight with you 1 minute, but make sure that you were not stuck in jail for some silly charge the next.
And he's always been there for me. So with my oldest brother Jason, not so much, just because he was adopted to begin with, and then
he was adopted by who?
My dad. He was my mom's son.
Was your mom married before your dad?
No.
Just had it.
Right.
Okay.
And then he was heavily restricted when we were younger for lying and stuff like that to our dad.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he would he would go to school and then he'd come home. He'd have to stay in his room. There's no TV or anything like that, especially 15 years ago or something like that. But he'd come down for dinner and then he'd go back up and he'd do his work. On the weekends and whatnot, he would go out and pick weeds and do that stuff, and then come in and then do the same thing. So unfortunately, me and Cody never really got to interact with Jason, the oldest brother, a whole lot. But Jason's been I think he's one of the most genuine people that you'd ever.
Tell me about your mom.
My mom has she's always been the it's kind of like Cody. She's always been the one that focused on me. And she worked at home.
What she did?
She was, God, I do not, something manager, a client manager for Nuance Transcription Company.
What's that? What is that?
Basically, Nuance, their major thing is medical transcription.
Okay.
So it's just all the things that the doctors are saying while you're in the hospital. And then
would she make sure that those all got transcribed?
She would manage the people who did all the transcriptions, and then she had a couple people where there's the managers over those people that then she would also take care of. And I think she was in the stage now where she was kind of branching out to different countries. So she had just gotten like this Canada account, I think, where she had to basically do the same thing, but now it's just all
she had a good job.
Oh yeah,
good paying job. It sounds like.
And yeah, she only, I think she told me that she completed high school. But if she didn't, then she didn't have a high school diploma, or she did. I honestly can't remember. And with that, when she first started doing everything, like with my dad, she was just a medical transcriptionist, so she's making like $35,000 a year or something like that. But now she had worked her way all the way up to making about $90,000 a year at this job. Stressful as hell. You know,
hard work pays off.
I'd hear her complain and do all that stuff.
Where was her office at?
You come down the staircase and then it's right to the right. So it's like, it's got like a potted plant in there. It's got like a bay window. Or like 3 windows.
No, when I say office.
At home?
She worked at home?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said she worked at...
Oh no, she works for Nuance.
Oh, okay.
But
from the house.
Yeah, she works from home.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's like where like all of our internet and crap is against like the wall. And
like a home office?
Yeah,
exactly. Work out?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like originally a dining room, but then it was transitioned into like her office. And
Fights and fusses with mom, or
no? I mean,
were you the baby? You were truly the family baby?
For my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
For my mom.
Mom's favorite?
Yeah.
Tell me about Dad.
Dad.
What does he do?
Dad's a pharmacist.
Okay.
He works for CVS. He's been a pharmacist for, I think, 35 years or so.
Always worked for CVS?
No, he worked for the hospital, ORMC actually, or I think it was something orange back in the day. But he worked for ORMC for about 15 years, and then he worked with home infusion with ambient healthcare for like 11 years or 13 years. And then he finally got into the sales one with CVS.
What do you mean?
Where he like sits in a cubicle and then he's got the headphone on, and then if somebody calls in, he just like tells them what they have to do, like pharmacy wise. So
talking to other pharmacists?
Retail pharmacy. So he wouldn't go to like the CVS's that you see on the side of the road. He was at like Caremark or something like that, which is owned by CVS. It's like 650 employees. He'd tell me about like how it's
a bunch of pharmacists doing the same job he's doing? Basically talking to other pharmacists?
Talking to other pharmacists, talking to doctors, talking to patients.
Gotcha.
Patients for like their home health care stuff that they have, and they just call into the 24-hour pharmacist, and then they help them through with whatever they're going to do.
Do you like that job better than being in a COSA?
No, he hated it. Because he was fired from, and then he was like IV home infusion with Florida Hospital's home infusion group for only about 2 or 3 years. He was fired from that for being, like, I guess, to not, like, soft, but like an asshole, because he would, like his manager or something was this, like, young woman, and then she was giving him crap, and then he's like, I've been a pharmacist for this many years, like, and you're younger than me, it's like, I don't have to listen to you, you know. Right. So I guess he blew up one day when he was down at work, and then because of that, he ended up getting fired, and then he was out of work for about 3 months. And then he was trying to get back into the hospital system, trying to do home infusion again. But because of how old he is, and because he has an RPH degree, which was the original pharmacist degree, he doesn't have the new PharmD, he just wasn't able to get back into the avenue that he wanted to. So that's why he was forced, basically, to go to retail. So, but, I mean, he'd tell me every day or every week that, he hates it. He's just trying to get to that retirement earmark so that he can stop. Because when he goes up to Tennessee, he doesn't want to get recertified in Tennessee and even work part-time like what his dad does.
What do you mean? What does his dad do?
His dad's also a pharmacist, but he originally lived in Florida, and then now he lives in South Carolina. And he just works part-time as a pharmacist, but he got the whole recertification, so he could keep doing that.
Right. Dad make good money?
I think he would tell me that he makes like between $110,000 and $120,000 a year.
Not bad money.
So yeah, it's not bad.
Well, so I'm sure him and Mom are both happy to see, that both of you going to that program.
Right.
You can make more. You always want your child to do better than you.
Right, and I mean, that was what my dad always emphasized. When we were younger, going through grade school and high school and college, we were heavily restricted, but we were allowed to do some things. Like, it wasn't like Jason's situation where he was just like the door's locked, you know, you're staying in there type thing.
And who was that? Who was keeping? Who was the disciplinary in the family?
My dad.
And was he the one that decided Jason stays locked in?
Yeah.
What did Mom think about that?
Mom didn't approve of it, obviously, but back in that time, my dad was a very, like, angry, violent type person.
Overbearing?
Overbearing. You know, he would like push my mom, and like one instance, you know, it was getting to that age where me and Cody were kind of getting old enough to maybe be able to do something if she needed our help. And I remember her and my dad were like in their room, which if you go down the stairs, it's right there to the left. We heard our mom yell that he's hurting me, and then me and Cody run downstairs, and we go into the room, and then we're trying to get our dad off of our mom, and then my dad elbows back, and that's why my nose has got its little, like, bridge right there. But, I mean, that's, like, how he was, like, spankings with a 2x4, you know, like, baseball practice, it'd be, like, 4 or 5 hours, and he's hurling the ball as fast as an adult can, and we're, like, 7th to 8th grade trying to catch this stuff. Yeah, I mean, definitely very overbearing, but he would always rationalize that he's just trying to, like, secure our future.
Violent towards the family?
Violent towards my mom and towards me. Never to and towards Jason, but never to Cody.
Why?
I mean...
Cody his favorite?
Yeah.
I mean, 3 boys?
Yeah. And with that, I mean, I could kind of see it, but Cody also never really made any mistakes. He did a few things wrong. He lied a few times. You know, he cost my dad some money a few times, but he was never like a repeat offender, I guess you could say, whereas me and Jason, you know, we had that difficulty where it's like, okay, we got a C or we got a D on something, and I just don't want to tell Dad about it.
Sure.
But then he would find out, and then, you know.
Dad ever abuse you?
When we were younger.
How so?
Spankings with like a 2x4, and then, you know, he'd use like I mean, it was like a 2x4 that was fashioned into a paddle called the lightning rod, I think is what it was called. No, he broke it on me.
I'd be sorry. I would probably take it with my dad, take it out and burn it.
Yeah.
So he didn't have it anymore.
But yeah, he would you know, he'd do that, and then he'd push you around. Like, he wouldn't punch you. He wouldn't bruise you.
Slap you?
He never slapped me. But I guess I should say the only place that I ever got bruised was on my butt from being spanked.
Belittle you?
He would belittle me when I was younger, but again...
How long since you've been out of work?
No, I mean, not really. He would just make me feel bad that... Like, he would make me feel bad that Cody's doing all this stuff to, like,
and you're not.
And I'm not. Like, I'm not contributing.
You're not as valuable, maybe.
Right.
Maybe that's not the right word, but you're not, like I said, contributing enough to what needs to be done.
Right, and then...
but nobody knows better than you that you want to be out there.
Right.
You want to have it.
And, I mean, the problem, I guess, was that I was always like the jokester, the one that could calm everybody down, make everybody smile. If it was a heated situation, I could say a joke or something and then make everybody kind of move past it. And I was just in the point where it's like, you know, I'm hearing, you know, all this stuff from Dad. I'm seeing how much Cody's helping me. You know, Mom's stressed out with her job. And it's like I'm not doing anything. And it's like I'm in that situation where it's like I'm not doing something because I don't want to. I'm held out because I'm waiting for this whole legal thing to get taken care of and then for jobs.
When's the last time your dad put his hands on you?
The last time my dad put his hands on me would be, I'd say, kind of the middle of December of 2018.
What happened?
It's because, you know, with all the money that had been getting spent and I guess just the mix of everything that I've been saying just kind of boiling up in him, and the fact that I was, to him, it seemed like I wasn't concerned about it. So, and then plus I was, you know, I wasn't acting like myself with the jovialness and, you know, all that kind of stuff. my father chose to admit me to like a depression or an addiction clinic or something like that in Fort Lauderdale called Cornerstone.
When was that?
That was December 22nd.
Okay.
Until I think January 4th.
Did you agree to go?
I didn't, but they said that, you know, this was your only...
Who said?
My dad.
Okay.
And that was in Fort Lauderdale?
Yes, yeah.
Did your mom agree with it?
My mom and my brother both agreed, but it was my dad who was like the iron fist, like, this is what's going to happen. Like, you know, he can't...
Why did he say you needed to go? What was his reasoning?
Because with the way that I was acting, he didn't see that I was doing anything for, like, the positive. You know, and a lot of it just came back to money with him. He would like allow me to spend money that he had, like with his credit card or something like that. But it's like then whenever I did, it was like a huge problem.
Okay, so you had one of his credit cards.
Yeah. And
what were you buying with it?
Well, what I was doing is over the past 4 months or something like that, I've been talking to this woman online.
Who's she?
She's as embarrassing as it is. She's a cam model.
A what?
A cam model. Do either of you guys know that?
Nope. Just like all the videos, you have to tell us. A
cam model, it's like it's like a virtual girlfriend, I guess you could say.
Okay. Like
that type of situation. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the money went to her.
Okay. Where's she at?
She lives in Bulgaria.
Where?
Bulgaria.
Where's that?
Over in Europe. It's like outside of Germany.
Okay.
Something like that.
You ever been there?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't that serious.
Okay.
So what would you give her money for?
Just for like the time online with her.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was just like that type of thing.
And what did she charge? By the minute? By the hour?
Minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much is it per minute?
Oh God, I think it was like 90 tokens a minute, and it's like the conversion rate for all of that is like $600 for like 5,000 or something tokens or something like that. So and then it was 4 hours a night. So I mean that's basically just where all the costs went to, was you pay real money for the tokens, then you use the company's digital currency for that.
So you do that, and when did you meet her?
I met her at the beginning of July. Yeah, at the very beginning of July.
Okay, and still talking to her?
Still, yeah. I mean, more just on Twitter, just through direct messaging. Again, cell phone service doesn't work, so it's like I can't use the chatting like that.
How much do you think you spent on this? Because it seems kind of pricey.
Yeah.
90 tokens and $5,000 for how many tokens?
No, it's $600 for 5,000.
For 5,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So how much do you think you spent on this?
Probably close to like $200,000.
$200,000?
Yeah.
And where'd the money come from?
Money came from me, my brother, and then my dad.
Did they know where the money was going to?
They didn't know that it was going to a cam model. I was saying that it was going towards my Twitch streaming, advertising, putting my name out there and that type of thing.
But based on what you're telling me, only so many people make so much money. I think just a few in the country make a bunch of money.
Right.
So that was like the ultimate goal, is to get to that.
I was hoping that the stars would align, and then I would be like one of those people, because I was good at the games, and I'm a funny, pleasant person on the camera and that type of thing. So, yeah. I mean, that's, so I guess to bring it all back with why I was brought to Cornerstone, it was a mix of all of those things. It's like he felt like, he felt like
you need to be grounded.
Yeah. And so then I was there. I spoke to the therapist and psychiatrist and all that stuff. I didn't need any medications for anything. They had analyzed it as, this is an isolated event. You've been out of work. You have this PTSD from the whole getting arrested thing, and I mean, the last thing on my record was, I think, a speeding ticket back when I was at UCF. And then, you know, just having all of that stuff going on. But then I didn't. They had signed me. They had signed me up, I think, to be there for 60 days. But then I was only there until January 4th. So
who paid for that?
My brother, Cody.
What was the cost of that? You know,
$15,000. It was $15,000, and then I think when I had gotten back, we were going through the process of calling them and seeing if we could get any type of refund. And I think they said that he was going to get refunded $3,000 from his $15,000.
Sure.
But I don't.
There so long.
Right. But I don't know if that transaction had ever gone through yet.
So their final diagnosis of you was what?
That I was fine. That
didn't need to be there.
Yeah. That I was fine. I told them all about like my living situation and how it had been stressful, and then it got better, and then now it's just stressful again. But they had all just said that it was just this isolated event.
Situational PTSD from
Yeah, like once
the
you
last 6 months.
Once you can get this legal thing taken care of, which I don't know if I mentioned, but when we looked online and we saw that all the charges had been dropped, that was on like November 30th or 31st, the day before we were going to Japan. So, while that was good and everything, I still knew that it was still going to be like on your record until you get it expunged. So, you know, I was still thinking, okay, at least now I can maybe start applying when we get back from Japan. Sure. But, you know, yeah. So, I mean,
after you get back, you got back
on the 15th of December.
You get back. I thought you said you went on the 22nd of December.
Yeah, that's when I went to. Yeah, it was after Japan. Okay. And it was because when I had gotten back, my mom and dad were, you know, dealing with a lot of the financial stuff while we were up there. And then when I got back, that's where my dad started to get really kind of overbearing, and I mean rightfully so. I know what I did, but it's like with him, it was every single day, hours a day. Hours a day. He'd come home from work, and then he would just talk to me just about the same exact thing over and over and over and over and over again. And
did he get heated?
He would get heated, but
how about you? Did you get heated?
No, I mean I was, you know, I was always the person in the family where, like, my brother Cody would interrupt my dad when he was talking. My mom would interject and say, you can't be saying that or whatever. But for me, I would just sit there and I would just let my dad talk so that he could say everything that he wanted to say. And then if I saw that it was something that he wanted me to respond to, then I'd respond. But I would never be heated to him,
sure,
especially if I felt like I was in the wrong.
Right. Through all this, you think you were in the wrong?
I mean, yeah.
To some extent?
To some extent, you know. Spending that amount of money, it's idiotic to do that, you know, especially when you're not making
so $200,000.
Right.
When was the last time that you and your dad did have, you know, a heated conversation?
It would be Thursday, because one of his rules was that I wasn't allowed to talk to the woman anymore that I had been talking to. But I guess you could say behind the scenes, my mom would let me talk to her through her cell phone using Twitter. And, you know, she would tell me, like, look, you have to keep it just basic, because if you say anything or if you entice anything or do anything like that, it might lead her to say something to, like, my dad or something like that. Because,
how was she in touch with him?
Because apparently when I was in Cornerstone, my dad told her, because he had, like, hacked my computer or something like that, and then he found everything.
He's an electronics guy like you and your brother?
Except he's more of that, like, hacking level, like, able to do all that stuff. So he had found, you know, like, just the stuff that was related to her. And then, you know, he erased my whole entire computer. He put a password on it. So it's like, even when I came back up until Thursday, like, I wasn't able to go onto my own computer to look at anything.
He's treating you like a small child.
Right. And rightfully so. I mean, spending that amount of money, I was acting childish. I can kind of get it. But, so yeah, anyways, on Thursday, he had apparently found out that I was speaking to her again. And when I came back on the 4th, my mom picked me up from the Cornerstone place. And then me and my mom met my dad at California Pizza Grill or Kitchen in Waterford Lakes. And he had this list, front and back, on a piece of paper of all the rules. This is what's going to happen. This is why I'm acting the way that I'm going to act. I'm not going to be Dad anymore. I'm going to be Chad. And I basically told him that I'm going to be present. I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to start to try and get jobs now. I told him what my plan was. You know, it wasn't really my intention to continue talking to this woman, but it just kind of happened. And then because there was like that emotional connection, I guess you could say, between her and me, like I like, you know, it felt like a relationship. You know, I didn't want to just stop cold turkey on it. So he had apparently found out, and then
unhappy.
Right, and one of the stipulations was that he told me at the dinner was, if you speak to this woman again, you're out of the house. Like, I'm kicking you out. You can pack up your shit, and then you're off my property. And then, because of the way that he used to be, he had told me that basically if that happens, that if I ever step back onto his property, that he would kill me. So, you know, on Thursday, that all happened, and then I was in the process. I was getting all my stuff together. I was piecemealing it out to the car, and then, you know, I had interview on Friday, so I had to get my suit out to my car. I was trying to just get all of my necessities as best as I could from, you know, a lifetime of living inside the house. Sure. And then my brother was working that night, and I think he was working like one of his long nights, but he ended up getting off early. And then I had met with my brother before he came home, just like in the neighborhood area. And then I basically brought him up to speed, and he had told me that he was going to do whatever.
What time was that, you think?
God, what time was that?
What time did you go to? Let me back up a second. I apologize. You, Mom, and Dad go to California Pizza Kitchen in Waterford at what time?
Oh, that was all the way back on January 4th.
Oh, you said Thursday.
Oh, that wasn't Thursday.
No. That was when I had come back from Cornerstone, and he was giving me the rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then do Thursday then. We'll
what
with that.
That Thursday that you meet with Cody down the street. This is this past Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about that.
After you and your dad argue.
After me and my dad had argued, and he had told me, you know, this is how it's going to be, and you know, all that stuff.
Okay. This is at the house this past Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is what now? Saturday. So
yeah.
Past Thursday, I guess you could still say. So. Then, yeah, I spoke with Cody. He told me about all that. He had given me his debit so that, because, I mean, I don't have any money, and I don't know where to go. You know, I'd never been out of the house on my own. And then the last thing that I was told was just that, you know, basically, once again, that he'll take care of it, because...
This is Cody?
This is Cody.
What time is this, approximately?
I'd say a little after 10:30-ish at night.
Thursday night?
Thursday night.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so then after that, I just, like, stayed in the vicinity area for a number of hours, and then I had remembered over some of the nights when I would work overnight, and then I'd be able to get off early, that the Publix on 50, on Colonial, the one that's by the Tractor Supply.
419, yeah.
Yeah. That Publix, it's like their guest Wi-Fi is always still active even when the store closes down. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go there because I have my Surface, and I can, you know, check on my emails. I had to pull up the address to my interview because I don't have GPS. So then I would, like, write all that stuff down, and then I was basically just waiting in that parking lot until I had to leave to go to the interview. And then, I mean, that was the last, because again, it's like, no cell phone service. I mean, email is literally like my only form of communication. And then, you know, yeah, I didn't have any. I went to the DoubleTree because I was like, I can't just stay in my car again all night.
Right. And how did you pay for that?
I paid for it with my debit card.
With your debit card.
Yeah, because I think there was like the $400 or $300 and something still left on it.
Okay.
What time did you get there?
The DoubleTree. I think I got there at around 3 or 4 p.m.
Yesterday.
Friday. And then I was just, I mean, I would like go out to my car so I get like a bottle of water or something like that, or if I'd forgotten something, you know, just like necessity wise. And then I was just there the whole night.
Talk to Cody, talk to Mom, talk to
No, I couldn't talk to anybody because I didn't have.
But you had the phone in the room.
Oh yeah, I did have the phone in the room. But yeah,
call anybody from the phone room?
No, I didn't even honestly think about it because I was like, you know, away from a place where I lived for 25 years or something like that. I had never, you know, as embarrassing as it is, I'd never been on my own.
Right.
The longest period I'd ever been away from anybody is 2 weeks when we were up in Japan. So, I mean, yeah.
But you had your brother with you, so.
Right,
so,
yeah.
So you had family with you.
But, yeah, I mean, so I guess I was waiting to see what would happen with this job because I was told I'd either be told Tuesday or Thursday. And then maybe I would try an outreach or something like that. Or the last time, you know, when it was like an issue where I didn't have my phone, like my brother would email me. So I was just thinking, oh, okay, well, I mean, if anything, he knows the situation, he'll just email me. So I checked my email a few times last night, and then I just inevitably was able to go to sleep.
Was it Thursday night that your dad told you that if you talked to the girl that he would kick you out, or was that the conversation on the 4th at California?
That was on the 4th. And then he just went through with it on Thursday.
Okay.
Detectives obtained Grant's account of his whereabouts and activities on the day of the murders. His lack of emotion and detachment are on full display, and his closed body language suggests an unwillingness to be forthcoming.
So Thursday, you're home all day.
Yes.
With your mom. She works at home.
Correct, yes.
Your dad's at work. What's his normal work hours?
He works until, I think he had to go in early that day, because he had to start like doing overtime or something like that. And he normally works though from like 5 or 6 in the morning to, I think he gets home between like 5:30 and 6 at night or something like that.
What time did you get home that day?
He got home at like 5:30.
5:30. 5:30,
5:45, one of those two.
Okay. Were you there when he came in?
Yes.
Okay. Well, describe your dad normal come in.
When my dad normally comes in, he'll come in, he'll look into the living room, which is like there's the kitchen and then there's the living room where it's got like the long couch and whatnot that's inside, and then there's the TV right there.
Okay.
So he'll normally come in through there, and then he'll talk or he'll ask his questions or he'll.
Where were you at when he came in?
I was just in there. I was just watching.
In the virtual reality where you said you had that set up?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just watching.
And that's in what room?
The living room.
The living room.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just watching YouTube at that time, just like.
Did Dad talk to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where, because he had, I don't know how he found out, but he had apparently found out, and then...
Found out what?
That I was talking to...
You were still talking
to the woman, yeah. And then he came in, and then he asked me, in a calmer state, I guess you could say, like, basically the leading question of, you know, why do you think we're about to have this conversation? Giving me, I guess, that opportunity to be honest and truthful, to maybe tone it down a little bit. I, of course, did what I always did, where I kind of didn't admit to it. And then he came out and he told me that I had been doing that.
He had proof.
Yeah.
Have an argument?
Yeah. And then, you know, he got just... He had kind of reverted back to the way that he was when we were younger, where, you know, he kind of, you know, pulled me up from the couch, and then he was yelling at me to pack my shit up and just get out of the house. That he was the one who had to be the hammer, and that, you know, why am I making him have to go through this, and all this other kind of stuff.
Okay.
So, you know, basically I had...
So he's becoming violent.
I mean,
he's like the way you described it when you were
right.
when you and Cody were kids.
Right.
What did he do?
Like I said, he pulled me up from the couch just by, like, the shirt that I was wearing. And then, you know, after that, he was basically just having that yelling where it was kind of like cracking. You know, like his voice would either crack or he was basically just yelling at that point and monitoring.
Where's
like,
your mom?
My mom was in her office.
Okay.
Because...
And I'm sorry to cut you off. Does Mom have, like, an office hours? Like, she would get up and do her work all day, and at a certain time, I'm done doing my office work, and I'm doing my family stuff.
Not really.
Okay, I mean, she worked there all the time.
Right. She would, I think the major thing that she would do is she would, like, cook dinner.
Okay.
And then after that, she would go back into her office.
What time was dinner, usually, generally?
Between, like, 7. Like, I guess usually around 7. 7:30 is when we'd usually have dinner. Most nights.
Did you guys already have dinner that night?
No. I think, what was she going to make? I think she was going to make something with, like, chicken or something like that, stir fry or something like that, because Cody was working late, so she didn't want to make something where, because my dad would always buy meals that were for 4, so we didn't want to pull out anything where there would be leftovers or something like that. So, but she hadn't started making it yet. I think she was defrosting the chicken.
And that was about what time?
What time? I think she took those out like at 4 or something like that in the afternoon.
And at this time, the argument with Dad is at what time?
The argument with Dad is like 6:30 or so.
6:30.
Yeah.
Okay. You have your argument and you pack your stuff?
I have my argument, and then I'm packing my stuff. I'm, taking it out to the car. It took me like a couple hours to get as much as I could, just kind of out into there. And then, yeah, it's like Mom's kind of just staying out of it to a certain degree because she knows like how Dad can be. And then, yeah, I mean, and that's just pretty much where I was just kind of like waiting.
So you wait outside. Did anybody call Cody and tell him what's going on?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. And how did you know to meet Cody down the street?
It's because my mom had actually come and told me that, she was trying to bridge the gap, and then before I actually physically left, I had told my mom that, I'm going to be close, I'm going to be local, I'm just going to be like down the street. And then
so you left?
So I left.
Okay.
And then
what time do you think you left about?
Oh, God.
If it's 6:30, the argument started. How long do you think before you left?
I'd say like 9 or 9:30 or so. And then, yeah. So then, I mean, yeah, that's because I guess.
How did Mom?
I think it's
about
because.
Cody, then?
I think it's because, like Cody had called the house, and then my mom picked up. And then he was just letting, like, how we would normally do, where, like, I got off early because he was supposed to work till, like, 11 or something like that.
So he came home early?
And then, yeah, he was able to
come home early because of the fight, you think?
I don't know, honestly. But, he had, I mean, like, that week, even on the days that he was working until 3, he would come home at, like, noon or 1 or something that week, so maybe it was just a slow week. But apparently that had happened, and then my mom was able to
tell him what was going on.
Right, and then she told me.
Did Cody have the gun affinity you have? He did. He liked guns like you did.
Right, yeah. Did
he keep any guns on him?
I think Cody had his, carry, his pistol.
Okay.
And then he...
What did he normally carry?
It was like a Smith & Wesson M9 shield or armor or core something.
Okay.
And then the only other gun that he had was his clay shooting shotgun.
Okay. Did your dad carry any guns?
My dad, to my knowledge, he has like 2 SKSs or something like that, and then he has a Glock something.
Did he carry the Glock with him normally?
Normally, no.
No? Okay. What else happened?
What else happened? Then after I had met with Cody, then that's where, I was again just kind of staying around that area, and then I just went to the Publix. And then to my knowledge, I mean, that was the last interaction that I had with the 3 members of my family was that.
Was about what time? Last time you saw your mom was what time, approximately?
Last time I saw my mom, I'm just trying to think. Last time that I saw my mom was, God, when did I say that I met Cody? Or when Cody
exact time
stopped by? It was like 45 minutes before that.
Okay, so
when Cody called the house. You said your mom told him about the argument.
Right.
When you left, you said you told your mom you were going to be in the area.
Right.
How then does Cody now know where to meet you, or if he's going to meet you?
Yeah, it's because that's when my mom had come out to where I said that I was going to be on that road somewhere. Okay. And then she was able to do that. And then I guess that's how she knew, like, where to, I don't know if she talked to Cody again or if she was able to do that. But then she was able to, like, pinpoint that area.
Okay, so this would have been late at night?
Right.
8, 9, 10 o'clock, somewhere like that time?
Yeah.
So dinner was over. You guys already had dinner?
We hadn't had dinner because of the whole argument that was happening.
Okay.
So, yeah, the chicken never got past just being in the wrappers over where she would always defrost it.
So, you leave, go on your way, Cody goes home.
Right.
And you have no contact with him since then.
Right.
I just want to make sure that we're not missing anything before we can close it out. Just a second, Grant. You want to take this? This is a good time right now to take it.
I'm good.
Bathroom break, anything?
No, I feel fine.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just water.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
In this next clip, investigators are employing the Reed technique known as theme development. The goal is to create a morally acceptable reason that gives Grant justification for committing the murders and to elicit a full confession.
And then, when you left Cody, what did he say he was going to go do?
Cody said that he will take care of it.
Take care of what?
Just the situation that was at hand with whatever he had been updated with from my mom.
Did he tell you what he was updated?
He had told me the reason why, like, I had been kicked out. But he really didn't give me that much dialogue, like, about that situation. You know, he was miffed a little bit because, you know, he had just gotten off work and now he has to go deal with this. And then after that, I mean, it was just, he gave me the debit card to say, you know, to use this in case of emergencies. And then, I mean, that was pretty much it, because I don't know if, like, he had already said that he was on his way home or if there were expectations, like, for a time with him for making it home.
But what was your demeanor? Like, what did Cody see you as? Like, were you
like scared?
Upset?
Yeah, so I was scared because, I mean, like I said, it's the first time that I had been out of the house, you know.
So you were scared of what? Being on your own?
Right.
Or did your father say or do anything to scare you?
He had threatened me that if I stepped foot back on his property, not the house, but if I stepped foot back on his property, that he would kill me. And, like, he
said those specific words?
Yes.
Did you tell that to Cody? That your father told you that?
No, I didn't.
So you're afraid of him?
Oh, yeah.
You are actually afraid that he could kill you?
Yeah, and it's also because, like, in the past, like, 2 weeks before I got kicked out, my dad was going through, like, a lot of episodes where he was losing his temper a lot, yelling a lot, especially when me and Cody weren't at the house. And
who was he yelling at?
My mom.
So was he being violent to your mom?
Yeah, like, I think
physically or just emotionally?
Both.
Put his hands on her.
He had bruised her left arm by grabbing it. And then apparently she had said that on one of the nights that they were in the kitchen together, and then he was, like, throwing food at her and then banged her head against the wall a couple times.
So, and I'm not let me speak bad of your dad, but he's kind of a violent guy.
I mean,
you have a reason to be afraid of him.
And then the thing that I was getting to was that apparently my mom was so scared at one point, because it had been a while since he had been like this, that she had taken, like, a couple or a number of voice memos on her phone whenever he would, like, come in and then start, like, she knew that, you know, something, like, he was going to start to get upset. And that on multiple occasions, he had told her that basically if I fuck up, sorry for the language, but that if I screw up, he's going to kill me, and then he's going to kill her.
He said those specific
because
words.
He blames everything that happens negatively with me and with Jason, not with Cody, but with me and Jason on her, because we're her favorites.
So you have a reasonable belief in your mind that your dad could hurt you?
Yes.
He could hurt your mom?
Yes.
He could maybe hurt Jason?
Yes.
He's a violent guy. I'm sorry, I've been this a long time. He sounds like a violent guy.
Yeah.
Quick to lose his temper with you over minuscule stuff?
Minuscule stuff, yeah.
I get the point he's upset about the amount of money. I do get that.
Right.
But physically, he's abusive.
Yes.
And it's kind of embarrassing as you're an adult male right now. He's been abusive of you for years, has he not?
Yeah. I mean, more mentally over the course.
But it has been to the point where you as a 29-year-old male, right, 29?
29.
That you're afraid that your father could kill you.
Yeah. And I mean, again, it's like, you know, at the house, I mean, I have, like, no access to anything. So, I mean, it's literally just like me. And, you know, I told you.
access to anything, you mean what?
Like, you know, anything to defend myself. You know, like, I had
sold
all my guns.
You sold it. Does Cody have guns in the house?
He does, but they're, like, locked up somewhere.
Dad have guns in the house?
Again, yeah, but they're locked up somewhere.
And you don't have access to them?
I don't even have a house key. I don't have a house key. I don't have any keys to the doors inside the house. All I had was my car key. That's all that he gave me.
And that night when you argued with your father and he said he grabbed your shirt and pulled you off the couch, did he do anything else to you physically?
No. No, he didn't, like, pursue it anymore. He was just...
Did you tell Cody that he acted that way towards you?
No, I didn't.
Cody had no idea that there was a heated, physical, just the argument that you needed to get out because you were talking to this girl.
Right.
At this point, Grant has been with detectives for over 2 hours and has yet to inquire about his family or the reason for the questioning.
We've come and talked to you.
Okay.
You rode up here voluntarily with us to talk to us. Why do you think we're having this conversation?
I honestly don't know, but I'm pretty freaked out at this point because, you know, it's, I mean, I know, like, how the situation was when I left, and, you know, I thought that it was weird to begin with that I hadn't gotten any communication whatsoever. I mean, like I had told you, my brother, Cody, the last time when I was away from the house, that he was the one who outreached to me via email, because, again, I didn't have my phone or anything like that. So, I mean, I thought that it was weird, but I had just been kind of putting it out of my mind, thinking, okay, you had to go to work, or they're busy, or something.
When you were in your room, the hotel room, hanging out, watching TV? No,
I didn't turn on the TV. I had on just, like, music in the background, just kind of helped me go to sleep.
Are you sure about that? Because the hotel, it's weird, and I didn't know this. I used to travel a lot for work. They can tell, because of the TV, every channel you've been on when the TV gets turned off. Because I guess they have a problem. Yeah, I guess they have a problem with people stealing from that.
Oh, wow.
So those things are well monitored. Even though that looks like a cheap...
Yeah. I never even touched the TV remote. I didn't turn on that TV at all. I was just using my service to, like, watch YouTube initially, and then
you were using the service to check things.
Right.
So there'll be a history of everywhere you went on it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. As a child, we're told the truth always is the best thing to do. Correct.
Correct.
You agree with me?
Yeah.
And accidents happen, and things in the heat of the moment, things happen that we wish hadn't happened.
The act of killing both parents and a sibling is known as parricide. Parricide is the rarest type of murder and accounts for 2% of all homicide cases. Parricide is predominantly committed by adult, middle-class white males without any history of prior criminal acts, and there is usually some history of mental illness. There are 3 types of parricide offenders: severely abused, mentally ill, and dangerously antisocial. Dangerously antisocial individuals usually kill their parents because they see them as an obstacle to a goal or desire. Grant's desire was Sylvie. Additionally, parricide offenders are usually younger than the age of 30, but over the age of 18. Grant was 29 at the time of the murders. Detective Noltari uses the graphic crime scene photos to push Grant over the edge and elicit a confession. Grant finally shows emotion, but it's contrived and manipulative. He avoids eye contact and covers his face with his hands. This shows deception.
Did you leave the house with your brother Cody looking like that? Or did you leave the house with your father looking like that? Or your mother? Is that how you left your family?
No. Nobody else went into that house.
Who left your family like this? If you were the one that's been depressed, you were the one that owes money, you were the one that got into a confrontation with your father, Who did this to your family? If you were trying to defend yourself or something else happened, we need to know now to help you. So tell us what happened, Grant. We're here to listen to you.
Grant, you need the truth. We're here to make this right. You got to tell the truth. It's on the tip of your tongue, my man. I get that.
Did your father go after you and you try to protect yourself?
No, I didn't do any of this.
There's something that's going to come up that is going to make this all come real. I'd rather it come from you than have to do it that way.
The evidence tells us what happened. You have to fill in the blanks. They can't tell me what happened.
Fact, I know. She never held a gun. She didn't have a gun that night. Fact, he never fired a gun. Fact, he never fired a gun. Never did. This is the person right here, Mom, who always stuck up for you. Something happened so bad that caused her death, your dad's death, and Cody. And I'll tell you just about how it happened. 1, 2, 3. Based on evidence. Based on evidence. I know he did not shoot your mom. I know he didn't shoot your dad. I know he didn't shoot himself. And I know from video surveillance camera in the neighborhood, nobody else came to that house. I know I can account for everybody that went to the house. I know.
So tell us what happened.
I know it. Listen to me. Hey, I know. Video surveillance tells me everything that happened this night. I'm telling you. Of people that you'd be surprised who in your neighborhood has video. And I know that there's only 4 people was at this house during this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell me. You got to tell me, man. You got to tell me. Get over that hoop. The video. If you're sitting there saying no, and video shows something else, guess what? Big problem. Because it will wind up later on that you can't get any help from anybody. A lot of this, what people make decisions on, is honesty. With somebody honest. Of course you're going to be somewhat dishonest at some point. We get that. We understand that. But at some point when you have that come to Jesus time that now I need to really, I got to tell you what happened. This is it. This is it. Video tells me everything I need to know about this from the neighborhood.
And you're the only one left to tell us.
I know it's hard to look at me, Grant, look at me, look at my eyes. I know it's tough, man. I do. It's a tough thing to say, but we need to know what caused things at your house that night to become so bad that we're this. He's violent. We know that. He's got a gun on. We get it. Cody just probably went around with a gun because he normally did. He walked in the house and was shot the minute he walked in the house. The minute he walked in. We see trajectory. We find the projectile. We've got everything on that. He's shot over here and is brought over here. See it over there. We found the bullets in the house. Mom's sitting her thing with a glass of wine, doing her thing, and she's shot. You just got to step over and tell me, man. I want to help you. I do.
The evidence is going to be there.
Most people, I would not.
We have cartridge cases. We have projectiles.
And fingerprints.
So you just need to tell us what led up to this.
You've been arrested, correct?
Yeah.
So we have your fingerprints, correct? You understand that? Physical evidence is something I can't manipulate. It's either there or it's not there. Didn't fire a gun, didn't fire a gun, didn't fire a gun. None of them did. None of them did. Cody did not go home.
Or did your father point a gun at you?
No, there's nothing else that I can say.
But then this is not going to end up the way you want to with what you're telling me right now. Factual items do not support what you're saying. Nothing that we can make up, or I think, or she thinks, or whoever thinks. You got to be honest. The minute you start being completely honest, and you're pretty honest with me, I'm not going to say you're not. The minute you tell us what happened to get this to here is the second that we start moving forward with healing. You say you can't something? Yes, you can. There's something that you have done that proves different. I'm telling you. I I don't know how else to, I can't make it any clearer. There's something there. Just tell me. Tell me. Your emotions, your demeanor, your body language, your eyes tell me everything I need to see about you. You want to tell me in the worst way. You want to get this pain off your chest. Do it. Come forward. Tell the truth. It's like going to church and doing your confessional. When I go to church, a few times I go a year, and I get up there and ask for forgiveness, I feel 100% better for all the crappy things I've done and didn't do what I should have done throughout the course of the year. Short with my coworkers, short with my kids, not living the way I should live. Gets me too. And when I go up there and make my confession to the pastor, it makes me feel better.
I mean, there's just nothing else that I can say.
There's nothing else that happened in that home while you were there that would lead up to this?
No.
Your father didn't point a gun at you?
There was nothing else more than what I had said.
Then who do you think did this?
I don't know. I don't have the answer.
I'll give you a few minutes to think about this and think about life decisions and where do we go from here. Want a few minutes to collect your thoughts?
Yeah.
Okay. Give you a few minutes. Do you need a drink or anything, Greg?
No.
Okay.
After confronting Grant with the crime scene photos, detectives leave the room for several minutes. Grant realizes all the forensic evidence is pointing to his guilt. His story is falling apart, and he begins to crack under pressure. When detectives return, he changes his story and admits he was there when Cody got home from work.
You know, the only thing that I have is just the times in which I had left the house. You know, there was still an argument when Cody had gotten home, and then there was nothing that he could do to help me. So I don't remember the exact time when I actually left, but I had left later than what I had said.
So you were home when Cody got home?
Yes.
Tell us about that. What time did he get home, and why did he come home?
I mean, he got home at, I think, like 10:30. I still think that's when he got home, was like around 10:30. I don't know why he was able to leave early.
And what was going on at the house when he arrived?
My dad and my mom were arguing, and then I was still just packing up all my stuff, or gathering the things that I could gather. And then when Cody got home, he started to transgress with my dad, and I was still kind of just staying out of it and doing my own thing. And then the end result was still the end result, and then I had to still leave.
And then, so is it true that you still met Cody up the block, or was that...
No.
So you didn't meet him up the
No.
block? So why did you tell us that?
I don't know.
Alright, so then, now let's start from the time you and your father started having the argument. About 6:30, you said, when he got home?
Yeah.
Tell us exactly what happened from that time on. Even what was said.
I mean, it was just a lot of yelling. I mean, it was everything that he had been telling me for the past months and months and months about just how I had ruined his retirement and how I had pushed him back, and now, you know, he'd never be able to do the things that he wanted to do. because I had saddled him with a lot more expenses, and that I had told him that, you know, once I can get a job, then I have plans to make amends for the things that I had caused for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And he's yelling.
Yeah.
He's heated. Are you yelling back at him?
No, I had never yelled at my dad.
And are you sitting on the couch downstairs, like you said?
I was in the living room, yeah.
And at what point does he put his hands on you?
It's just, I mean, it's like maybe 5 minutes into the conversation. So, I mean, there wasn't really anything that was a trigger that I can think of.
What was your reaction when he grabbed your shirt and pulled you up?
I mean, I had always been passive, so I mean, I didn't fight back or anything like that. I just tried to get my grounding, and then we were just standing, and you know, it just continued on.
And then what?
And then after that, I started the whole process of gathering everything.
And where's your mom at this point?
She was still in her office.
Did she intervene at all?
She had gotten up to say that, you know, like you need to settle down, or you know, some sort of diffusing statement that she always used to make. And then my dad yelled at her to stay out of this, and then she just went back into there.
Okay, and then what? What happened next?
I mean, then it was just like it was just a lot of yelling and confrontation between me and Dad, but there wasn't anything more physical about it. And like I said, I was just going up and about, you know, getting my stuff and taking it out to my car and getting back whatever I could gather.
And what did your dad do while you were doing that?
He was just following me around. Just
making sure you were gathering your stuff to get out?
My possessions, and not taking anything of his.
And how long did that go on before Cody shows up?
I mean, that was like for 4 hours or something like that.
So you did that for 3 hours?
Yeah.
Gathering your stuff?
And dealing with Dad, and because it wasn't just like he
pack up those 2 little bags you brought. Was 3 hours?
Yeah, he wouldn't just. I mean, I went onto my computer to back up some stuff onto like some flash drives and I mean all that other stuff, but it wasn't just like with him where I could just go and do my thing. You know, I mean, he would stop me, and then we would talk for like an extended period of time, and then I would start to do my thing again, and then it would stop again, and I mean, that's all it was.
Was your father wearing this?
Yeah.
And what about that gun on his waist?
No.
He didn't have that on?
No.
Is this normal?
No. I mean, I hadn't seen him have his gun since like high school.
So he doesn't walk around like this normally?
No.
Why do you think he would be like this?
I don't know if it's because of what he had told me, that if I came back that he would kill me.
And like you said, you're afraid of him.
Yeah.
But we're here to this. This is the person that is coming to solve the problems for you, or came home to solve the problems. There's the one who always sticks up for you, including talking to the girl. She talked to the girl in Bulgaria, didn't she?
Yeah.
She had conversations, said that you're not a bad guy, and how this breakup basically has affected you, didn't she? Told him it was bad. Here's the problem: his dad. This one's behind you, supports you. That one's behind you, supports you. This one, I'm sure, cares about you, but is upset because, like you said, you have ruined his plans for retirement, so he can't retire because of the financial loss. How much money did Cody give you? Approximately. $60,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Dad gave you how much?
Like 100,000.
Mom gave you how much?
It's like 30,000 or something.
So around 200,000. And the vast majority of this money went to some girl on the internet. So they're upset. I get that. But we know he didn't fire a gun. We know she didn't fire a gun. We know he didn't fire a gun. He shot the second he walks in the house.
At what point does he come into the house?
It's like 10:30.
And where does he enter?
Through the garage.
Where does he park his car?
Under the awning thing.
Outside, not in the garage?
Right.
So do you see him walk in? Or hear him come in?
No.
So you're upstairs maybe, or where are you when he comes home?
When he came home, I was gathering some of the like power bars into my little shoulder satchel thing.
And where are the power bars, in the kitchen, or?
In the kitchen.
So you see him come in?
I hear the door, but then that's it.
And then when do you see him typically?
I see him when he walks into the kitchen.
And what do you guys, what is said?
He asks me what I'm doing, and I basically tell him the quick, short story, because at the time my dad and my mom are talking.
Where were they?
They were in her office.
Okay, and what is the short story you tell?
That
Cody.
That Dad caught me still talking to the girl that had caused all the problems, and that he was kicking me out of the house because I had broken his rule.
Did you tell Cody that he threatened to kill you if you came back home?
No, I still didn't tell Cody about that. I had told Cody previously when I went to Cornerstone that that's what Dad was going to do if I had made any more mistakes, not the specific one that I had caused, but if I had made any more mistakes. And then Cody told me that he was going to do that when I went into one of the side offices with him before they officially dropped me off.
When you went to Cornerstone?
Right.
So your dad had told you in the past before that he would kill you?
Right.
For what reason?
If I basically did anything related to this, again, costing him a lot of money.
And Cody knew about that?
Right. He just didn't know about the one that was just said. Whether or not he knew from like the paper that my dad had written out of all the consequences and everything like that.
When did your dad write this paper?
Before they came to get me on the 4th. I mean, I don't know the exact time.
Do you know where the paper is or what it's written on?
It's written on like a greenish yellow college ruled just piece of paper and pen.
In the office or bedroom? Or?
I don't know where he keeps all of his stuff.
All right. So what else do you and Cody talk about?
So then after talking about that, he says that he'll take care of it, and then him and my dad, they're the ones that always yell and raise their voices and everything like that.
So did your dad eventually enter the kitchen, or did Cody go to your dad in the office?
No, my dad came in when he heard that me and Cody were talking.
And what was the conversation then?
When they started to talk, I just left the room, and I just went back upstairs.
So you didn't hear what they talked about?
I mean, not in any. It was more just that he was defending that it's just, that I just did this, and that it's not like it's costing any money.
Were they yelling? Did they raise their voice? Or they were talking?
They were yelling.
Did you hear any threats or?
My dad had said that that everybody had agreed that if I had done this, that I would have to go. That there wasn't any more wiggle room or second chances or anything like that. And then, he came around to the base of the staircase, and then he told me that I need to go.
Your father did?
Yeah. And then I told him that I was just trying to pick up the last few things that I needed to. There was like a bag of my like a trash bag of like my clothes that I had still not unpacked from when I got back from Cornerstone, that I just, you know, had to gather and put into my car, you know, all that just random stuff. And then I don't know what time I actually left, but I think it was closer to like midnight or something.
And when you left, where was your mother?
When I left, my mom was still just in her office.
And where was your dad?
Dad and Cody were just yelling inside the kitchen.
So when you left, you heard them yelling?
Not really yelling anymore, but they were. It was basically just the same exact conversation that had been going on, where there was nothing left, and then Dad looked through some of my things to make sure that I wasn't taking anything that wasn't mine. I think the only thing that he had a problem with was that I had taken like some of my paperwork bills from like the Chapman Law Group, but then since I wasn't the one paying for it, that they would need those, but then I still just ended up keeping it because I figured nothing else was going to like be covered for me or anything. So then after I left, I took the Fort Christmas Road that connected up with 50, and then I was just at the Publix for the rest of the time. The
same Publix we talked about earlier on 419. So from about midnight till 7 a.m., like you said, you were at Publix. And then is everything else the truth as far as the job interview and so on and so forth?
All the rest of the times were accurate, and when I looked at the site, I only saw a small blurb.
So when did you learn that your family was dead?
I had been worried since last night when I was just in the hotel, but I knew when you guys told me. I mean, like, I knew when you guys had told me.
You already knew, though.
But I had...
You already said... You knew.
At any point, did you feel like you needed to reach out to Cody and see if he was okay, or...
I just didn't want to call anywhere. I just didn't want to know.
But you couldn't call?
Well, I mean, you had brought up the hotel.
Hotel room was there.
Phone, but I just
phone works there.
I didn't even think of to use that.
Detectives turn up the heat using the direct confrontation technique. The $33,000 payment on Chad's credit card shows the motive was Sylvie. But even when confronted with the likelihood of DNA evidence, Grant refuses to confess.
You got a medical background, correct?
Yes.
You ever been to an autopsy?
No.
Okay. An autopsy tells us a lot of things. Cause of death, a lot of times how close somebody was to something. Again, remember what I told you earlier? She didn't fire a gun, he didn't fire a gun, he didn't fire a gun. So they didn't get into a shooting amongst themselves inside the house. Angles tell us a lot of things. Dad was over here when he got shot. The bullet's in the cabinet and in the wall. We know that. That's one of those facts we just can't dispute. I see where shell casings are over here. I see where shell casings are in here. I see where shell casings are there. Cody was shot the minute he walked in the door, when he first got home. Bullet went through him, from his head to the back of his head, hit the door frame, and impacted into the wall. He never fired. He never fired. She never fired.
And we know what time Cody left work. I mean, from his boss, from his co-workers. You got to remember, we've talked to everybody before we talked to you. So we know what time he left work. We know why he told his co-workers and his boss why he left work. And we know what time he got home. And we have text messages that he has sent people afterwards. So based on what you're telling us, that he comes home and has this confrontation, talks to you, talks to his dad, you leave about midnight, and he's still there talking to your dad in the kitchen, none of that adds up.
Senator, can I approximate the time of death based on the body? Now's the time, Grant. Now's the time, buddy. I'm just...
So I believe this happened while you were still present in the house. And for whatever reason, you don't want to tell us. We understand your father was abusive, and we understand that he was the asshole. And if he threatened you, that he was going to kill you when you came back, you were probably in fear, were you not? So did your brother come home to try and defend you, and then this gunfight happened, and you got so scared that you left?
No, I mean, I had left when I had said that I had left.
Which time? Around 9 or midnight?
No, around the midnight time.
Again, we know stuff from the medical examiner office of times. Said this a couple of times. He never fired a gun. He never fired a gun. She never fired a gun. Nobody did. Nobody in the house fired a gun. Fact. We know.
I'm going to get DNA off the guns that are on scene and the cartridge casings.
And all
Any
that.
reason to believe that your fingerprints or your DNA will be on any of those weapons or the cartridge cases that are on the scene?
I mean, not that I can think of. I mean, I know that me and Cody had, you know, like, I mean, we had used each other's guns before in the past, like when we go to the range, but...
But you said you had no access to these guns now.
Right. I mean, but yeah, I mean, that was a long time ago. So, I mean, there's...
So the gun that's still on scene and the gun on your father's waistband, is your DNA or fingerprints going to be on it?
Not that I can think of.
Let me throw something at you. We pulled financial records from your dad, you, Cody, and your mom. Remember that payment you made?
Which one?
The payment on that bill you had?
The $599.99.
I saw that one. Well, guess what got paid right about the same time?
What?
$33,000 of debt was paid off of his credit card. Same time. Within a very short time of each other. Those things go together. Records show what was happening.
Wait, what happened?
$33,000 on, I think your dad, I think it was a USAA credit card. Yeah, $33,000 was paid to pay off that credit card. I just don't know where else to go to get you to come around, because it does not make any logistical sense of what you're telling us. It doesn't. If these two got in the shooting, we would know. We would know they shot each other. We'd know that.
But why Mom?
It just got so bad and out of hand, like never it's been before in your life. Never been here before in your life, or your family's life. He's pissed. His future, his retirement, his plans are being upset by you because of the financial cost. I would almost bet this is just a horrible, bad incident that on any other day wouldn't happen. But you and me both know, as does she, what happened that night. You're coming around, and I really appreciate it, Grant. I do appreciate it. Now you're starting to tell more of the truth. Everybody minimizes when they're in a stressful situation. They do. My boss can start yelling at me. I try to minimize the effect of it, thinking about what am I going to do? How do I explain to him what happened legitimately? Not that I want to be a liar, but let me explain to him how legitimately something happened. How I bumped my fender on my car, got a ding in it. Try to think, well, how am I going to explain this?
And you've already told us a lie. This whole map thing is bullshit.
So when people start telling little fibs, they add up to big ones. And I told you, just tell the truth. I already know the truth. I know the truth. You can't convince somebody of something they already know the facts of. Walk outside today, you try to tell me it's night, and I know it's noon. I know it's daytime, right? We both agree? Here's the time. Tell me what happened. Tell me what really happened in this very short time to get to where we are right here. I'm telling you, 100 times. None of them fired a gun. None of them. A thing called gunshot residue. There's no gunshot residue on anybody's hands. Nobody fired a gun. He didn't shoot him. He didn't shoot him. Neither one of them shot them. I'm telling you. Look at everything. He walked in the door, shot them, and he walked in the door. Because right down here is a bag he carries in. Dropped right there where he opened the door, walked in, and gets shot. There's Dad's lunchbox right there. Dad came home, was probably messing with it right around here. Arguments, whatever's going on, whether there was even an argument. Dad gets shot, and he drops right here. And most likely either got pulled or crawled over here. Over here. I wonder what DNA is going to be in that blood right there. What's going to be on your dad's pants? Because we got his pants. We take all their clothes, everything that we take. Your DNA going to be found on his pants?
No.
You sure? Maybe something, a question I'm asking, I already know the answer to.
I know, but my DNA shouldn't be on his pants.
Shouldn't? Okay. Explain to me. I just need you to tell me why the minute he walks in, he gets shot. He's shot. It's right there, just above there is what it is. We got an investigator of the autopsy right now, and the doctor saying, "Here's what happened. Here's where he shot. Cody shot right below the eye. It comes out the back of his neck and into the wall. Dad shot twice." And the doctor basically said he could have crawled from here to here because of the injury.
And we're going to look at their clothing, your clothing, for DNA, gunpowder, blood spatter, all of that.
Inside of your car. All the stuff that's in your room. All your electronic footprint, we're going to look at. We will look at it. We will see it. It's a whole lot easier for you just to say what happened than to have to come out there and say, here, boom, 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 because that may change the direction of this case severely. Of whether somebody says, here, let me tell you what happened, it got me here. This blew up, he's been threatening me, he's upset at me, I've ruined, his financial success and his plans for retirement with the house.
Cody tried to get involved and you wanted to protect Cody. That makes sense. You and Cody are close.
I don't have the answer for anything else.
Okay. This is the last time before I'm going to walk out now, and then I'm done. Then I'm done for good. When I'm done, I'm done. They won't say, hey, can I come back and talk to you? The minute I walk out that door with your story is where you stay at. That's your lot in life. I'm more than willing to sit here all day and all night, if you want to talk, to find the facts. But I can't. I told you from the beginning, I will not deal with somebody that's not being truthful with me. You're not being truthful. You're not telling me the truth. You've lied, and we've forgiven you over that. We've forgiven you over it. You can't lie about this, Grant. You can't. This is too important for your family of what has happened. There's not somebody out running around the United States that killed them. There's not. There's nobody out there, some hidden killer. There's not. You don't show the remorse that you should for someone who's lost 3 family members. Body language, eyes, and demeanor. Here's the time, man. I know it's tough. Tell the truth, because when I walk out, there is no another day.
And it's going to look worse for you when we prove it by the DNA, the gunpowder, the blood spatter, fingerprints. Now is the time for you to be honest with us and is exactly what happened in that house before you left.
We'll be there for weeks gathering evidence. We are going to build the case because we're going to disprove the fact that nobody else came in this house. We already know that answer. But at some point we will build a case to the conclusion that nobody else went in.
I don't have anything else that I can say.
Grant's flat affect and lack of remorse point to a personality disorder. The only thing he cares about is himself and communicating with Sylvie. His hands are clasped and remain close to his body, suggesting he's guarded and withholding information. There's no visible fidgeting, and his feet are planted as he continues to hold his ground. Narcissism is extreme self-involvement and a lack of empathy to the degree that it makes a person ignore the needs of everyone around them.
You know, my brother even said the same thing of, like, when all this financial stuff was happening, like, why I couldn't show, like, sadness towards it. And, I just don't know. I mean, I just don't know what else to say.
Do you not feel bad for doing this to your family?
I don't know.
You don't know what? You don't know if you feel bad for doing this to your family?
I mean, I've been getting blamed for the last half a year for everything, and I've been trying to move forward into a positive direction. And then every day I'm reminded of all the trouble that I had caused. And then I keep being told the same thing over and over again, but there's nothing that I can do to change it.
Do you regret doing this to each one of your family members?
I didn't do that to each one of them.
Who did? Who has such an axe to grind with your family that they shot him twice in the head, him in the head, and her? Who has it? Here, you sit in my seat for a minute. Sit in my seat. Get out of it. Here, sit right here. Come here. Sit right here. Get out of that seat. Sit right there for me. Sit on it. Look at it. Look at it from our side. Look at it from our side. Think of it from the way we look at it. Independent. What are we here for? One thing. The blindfolded ladies with justice. Justice is all we're here for. Justice. Look at it. Who has a motive? Who has a motive to hurt your family? You could say Jason, but we already know what Jason was. I can account for every bit of Jason's activity. Every bit of it. Jason gave a statement. What's the first thing we looked at? Is Jason telling the truth? Can we verify what he told us? And in quick succession, we did. He said I was XXXXS. And he went, yep, he sure was.
And we know exactly when Cody left work.
And know when Cody got home. And know when Cody stopped answering his phone. And know when bills were paid. And knows when vehicles left. And know when phones tagged hotspots. Know it all. Know every bit of it. Now it's time for you to admit to what you know. Because you're saying, I didn't do something, I don't know something. It's an easy thing to say to yourself, but you can't say it to us. Because facts and evidence don't lie. I've done everything I can do to get to the bottom and the truth. And we're not getting there. But I promise you down at some point the facts will get there. And then you're going to ask, hey, can I talk to you and tell you what happened? And the answer is no. After we walk out of the room, like I said, it's done. There is not a second chance. There's one time to make a first impression. You heard that one before? This is it. I believe you're not a bad guy. I do. I believe you want to tell us what happened. And there's a reason this got so bad. There's a reason. That's all I'm saying.
I don't have anything else that I can say. I mean, I don't have the answers.
That you can say or want to say?
That I can say. I mean, I don't know. I know from sitting over here what it looks like. I mean, it's just like when I was accused of the whole grand theft thing. And then it's, you know, everything from security cameras and all this other stuff for saying this, that, and the other, but then there's nothing that showed that I had done anything wrong. And I don't know what else I can say.
So what they accused you of, you didn't do?
The grand theft thing?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Two things that happened here today. Two things. You're a guy swimming out in the middle of the ocean, and we're going to give you one of two things based on you. You can have a life preserver to keep from drowning, or you get the boat anchor. Which one do you want? Because we will give you whichever one you ask for. The life preserver, the boat anchor.
I want the life preserver that I've said everything that I can.
You want it, and I believe you do, but you have not said everything you can say. Be careful of locking yourself into something, because just like this, you've locked yourself into, I was down on Fort Christmas. That's where me and Cody met, which we've proven to be a lie. We already knew that. We already knew that wasn't true. But I'm going to let you say it. I'm going to let you say what you want to about being honest in here. And at some point, we will pick that apart of why you're not honest and what physical evidence shows to be. What physical evidence shows to be. If you want to be honest, this is it. This is the time right now to be honest. You say, if I can say what you're saying, what you want to say to me right now, just like you wanted me to believe that you were down on Fort Christmas down the road with Cody, that you wanted to. That's what you wanted me to believe, and there's a reason you were being deceptive to me, because it doesn't matter where you met him and had this conversation. If you lie about something small, you lie about something big. You're being deceptive over something that doesn't matter if you met him down the road or not. There's no reason to lie about where you met him at. This is it. Your one chance in the rest of your life to be honest about this right here. You say, I've told you where I can tell you. You told me what you want me to know. Just like you told me what you wanted me to know about that, and for Eva to know what you want to know about that. But it's not true. Just like you want to tell me what you want me to know about this. I get this. I get that. I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't get it. I don't. One, I get. I understand. She didn't bully you. She didn't belittle you. She didn't run you into the ground. Nor did he. I don't get it. But this is it. Because you're just about, I've kind of got a number in my mind that I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk out and we'll take our stuff and be on our way, and you're going to go the way you go. But there will be a time where you ask for that life preserver. I can't give it to you. I can't. Once I cross a line I got to step over, can't do it. Won't do it. Think about that. I want to talk to her for a minute. Think about the last life preserver I can give you. Think about it. Take a few minutes just to reflect on it, and then we'll come back to you in a couple of minutes, and then we'll go from there. And what happens is what happens. Fair enough?
Detectives were never able to get a confession from Grant Amato, but the jury found him guilty on 3 counts of first-degree murder. And 2 weeks later, he was sentenced to life without parole. Amato is being held at Tomoka Correctional Facility in Daytona Beach. He's currently appealing his conviction. If you enjoyed the documentary and would like to support the channel, please consider subscribing. And thanks so much for all your time. I'll see you in the next video.